All right, fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. I'm sure we'll have others joining momentarily, but it is a pleasure to have Andrew Paris and Abdinoor Hassan joining us today. Andrew is based in Switzerland, I should say, and Abdinoor is based in Mogadishu, Somalia. So fantastic cross section of different geographies and different contexts, but a fantastic topic they'll be sharing today around application in humanitarian settings. So Andrew has been a fantastic mentor of mine. I've had the pleasure to work with him over almost 10 years now, I would say. And I've just been very thankful for his experience working in this space. And it's near and dear to all of our hearts here and seeing how lean can be applied in settings and environments that are less straightforward. So, Andrew, I'll let you perhaps say a bit more and then give an introduction for Abnor, please.
Great. Thank you, Ben. Wonderful to be with everyone to share the great work that especially Abdinoor has been doing as part of our implementation of Lean in Medair. Abdinoor is a program manager in the Medair country program of Somalia, which we will talk more about in just a moment. So without further ado, let's get started. This is the outline of what we want to share with you today.
Andrew, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you could just share your screen one more time, we lost your slide.
We did. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Perfect. Now it's coming up.
Okay. Sorry about that.
We see it.
Okay, awesome. So here's the title slide again, and here's the outline. So we're going to talk briefly about the NGO context in general, Somalia in particular, who Medair is and what we're doing in Somalia. Abdinoor will talk about how we started and we're growing lean in the country program. Abdinoor will share two specific improvements. We'll take a look at some lessons learned and take some time for questions and answers. In general, the NGO context is wherever we work, when we're doing humanitarian work, responding to crises, we always are challenged with access and insecurity constraints, which means it's difficult for us to get places and to get to people in need. The situations are extremely volatile. They're changing very quickly and they're quite unpredictable. So we need to be able to respond quickly. The infrastructure is difficult, whether it's telecommunications or roads, whatever it is a very challenging place to work from getting around and sharing information perspective. The countries where we work often are not so refined in their processes, so there's often bureaucratic impediments in getting things done through governments. With governments, we're often also finding local partners and working with local partners so that when the international NGO leaves, that the local parties are able to continue the work that we've begun and start and developed with them. And because of, especially in the country of Somalia, where it's unsafe to go to specific locations, we're going to be doing remote management of our partners. The financial challenges, I think, are well known to most of you. In particular, the NGO work is chronically underfunded. Typically, less than half of the United Nations call for funding is actually funded. Donors get tired of hearing about the needs, of giving to certain needs, especially when they see that the need continues. And you all may have heard in this year, there have been some dramatic funding cuts to international humanitarian work. And these are what we have to deal with. And just like you can see on this image here, where a child is malnourished, we can also say that the NGO sector is malnourished, and it's financially in its ability to respond to the crises that are in front of us. Abdinoor.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thanks for joining. So I'll take you through the Somalia context in terms, specifically, if you can see from the map, Somalia is situated in the Horn of Africa. It's the longest coastline in mainland Africa, stretching of 3,000 kilometers along the Indian Ocean. It neighbors Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Kenya. So next, please. Okay, the humanitarian situation in Somalia remains very severely dire. complex and driven by a combination of the primary drivers. So conflict and insecurity, there is ongoing conflict and violence, primarily involving the non-state actors, the terrorist actors, continue to cause mass displacement, disrupt trade, humanitarian access, fuel protection risk for civilians. The climate shock, Somalia remains on the front line of climate change. The country is expected to continue facing volatile mix of severe drought, unpredictable rainfall, localized flooding, which destroys livelihood, disrupts food production, and exacerbate disease outbreaks. So over 300.8 million people are internally displaced, living in overcrowded settlements with minimal access to basic services. They are the most vulnerable groups in Somalia. 6.9 people in need of humanitarian assistance. To put this staggering number in context, 6.9 million people is nearly half of Somalia's entire population. This isn't just statistics, but it represents millions of individuals facing severe food insecurity, displacement, and lack of access to clean water and healthcare, driven by a convergence of conflict, climate shocks, and poverty. Extreme food insecurity, this goes beyond simply not having enough to eat. We are talking about emergency and crisis level of hunger. So this means that families are skipping meals for entire days, selling their last assets, and that children are suffering from acute malnutrition that stunts their growth and threatens their lives. Famine is a real recurring threat in Somalia. 1.4 million acute malnourished children. This figure represents a silent, devastating emergency. 1.4 are primarily children under 5, suffering from severe acute malnutrition, the most life-threatening form of hunger. Their bodies and brains are being starved of essential nutrients, leaving them dangerously weak, stunted, and highly vulnerable to deadly diseases like cholera and measles. There is disease outbreak. This is a little synergy with widespread malnutrition. We just discussed severely weakened immune system, especially in children, combined with massive displacements in crowded and sanitary camps and lack of basic health care. You have a perfect storm. Diseases like cholera, measles, and the malaria spreads rapidly, turning a hunger crisis into a full-blown health catastrophe. There is widespread violence, abuses, exploitation threatens the most vulnerable, including women and children. The point cuts for the core humanitarian safety. Beyond hunger and disease, millions face grave threats of personal security. We are talking about gender-based violence, forced recruitment of the children as soldiers, forced evictions, attacks on civilian sites. For displaced families living in family camps, especially women and children, these protection risks are daily terrifying reality.
So enter into this context, not just in Somalia, but in many countries in the world, is Medair. It is a Christian humanitarian organization that responds to conflict, disease, and disaster so that the world's most vulnerable and hard to reach people can live with dignity and hope. So what is unique about Medair is we really do go to the most difficult to reach places. You can see in the picture and this slide here, to find the most vulnerable who are suffering the greatest, and we bring them supplies and assistance so that they can live with dignity and hope. This last year, we were serving in 14 different countries.
So I'll take you through Medair Somalia. We've been present a long-term commitment to serving communities. Been present since 2008, which demonstrates a deep, long-term commitment to the people of Somalia. We have operated through countless cycles of drought, conflict, and famine. The sustained presence has allowed us to build critical trust with communities, develop nuanced understanding of the context, and remain on the front lines, delivering life-saving assistance even as crisis evolves. So we support, we deliver essential health, nutrition, and the water and shelter services to displaced urban communities. This is a core of our emergency response. We provide an integrated package of essential services like health, to treat diseases, nutrition to save starving children, and water, sanitation, and hygiene to prevent outbreaks. We deliberately target the most vulnerable, whether in crowded displaced camps, isolated rural areas. We support 12 health facilities and deploy mobile outreach teams. This is a dual approach in ensuring that both stable care and reaching the most isolated and vulnerable. This strategy helps us to overcome Somalia's access challenges. Our 12 health facilities provide stable, consistent care points in key locations, and our mobile outreach teams is a lifeline bridging the last mile. We have 1,400 community volunteers. These volunteers are the true backbone of our health response. They are trusted members of their own communities, trained to provide basic health care, screen for malnutrition, promote life-saving hygiene practices at people's doorstep. This massive grassroots network is our most powerful tool for early detection, prevention, and ensuring that even the most isolated families receive our critical support. In 2024, we've reached around 358,000 people, providing this number represents our collective impact in 2024, who received healthcare, nutrition, treatment, and clean water. Each member is a person whose dignity was upheld and whose survival was supported in the face of immense challenges. So I'm going to share a small story of that picture you can see here is the mother and the child. She's mother is called Ayan, and her son is called Omar. Omar came to one of our clinic, and he had Ayan had 7 children. When she visited our clinic, then she met our staffs. Then we were able to ask her through some history taking. We realized that she had 7 children, but one died in the devastating floods in 2023 that happened in Somalia. While seeking help, Ayan, she brought her severely malnourished son, Omar, to Medair supported clinic, fearing she will lose him too, having lost another one in 2023. So we gave him at the clinic. Omar was diagnosed with severe acute malnutrition and immediately enrolled in our program, and also he received other treatment of some common illnesses that he was suffering from. Ayan received a ready-to-use therapeutic foods, critical support, giving Omar a chance to survive and thrive. So the story of millions. The flood that took one of her child also destroyed her home and livelihood, leading to the immense vulnerability and the resilience hope.
Now I've lost Abdinoor. I will keep going, and as soon as Abdinoor is able to join, let's he'll do that again when he gets his sound back. But let's keep going. What we want to do, excuse me, next now, which is talk about what we did. So now you understand the context of working in Somalia, how we started and how we grew lean in Medair, Somalia. And it began back in 2018 in January. I gave a one-day training in Nairobi to the support staff in the Nairobi office, and that office also is the base at the time for the leadership of the Somalia program. And that had an initial effect in changing people's minds and helping them to begin to think about things in a lean manner. I remember a phone call I had sometime after that with the country director. He said, "Andrew, I really have to tell you, things are different now. Every time someone wants to do something new, we always ask the question, does it add value?" And that began a mindset change. And improvements that they started to make. And based on the promise of that initial training, then we expanded. We held a one-day training and workshop in Mogadishu in December of 2019, where we worked on 3 different processes: the volunteer training, monthly financial reporting. You can see Abdinoor there facilitating that improvement project. And also we looked at beneficiary feedback response mechanism. That was the beginning, which showed promise. And from that initial promise, the leadership decided, let's grow this thing, let's move forward. And let me check to see if Abdinoor's back on with us, or if I need to keep going.
Can you hear me? I'm back.
Okay, wonderful, great.
Sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
had interruption, interruption. So leadership, growing lean. Leadership committed to lean continuous improvement. So this meant that our leadership actively prioritized minimizing administrative and overhead costs. This ensures that maximum amount of every dollar donated is directly directed straight to the front line, to the clinics, therapeutic foods, all that. So we had a leadership commitment. Abdinoor was appointed, myself, I was appointed as a continuous improvement champion in Somalia. This appointment was a strategic move to embed efficiency in our DNA. As a continuous improvement champion, a trusted local leader, empowered to proactively identify and implement ways to streamline our processes. I trained 27 staffs were trained, one-day course. This single day of targeting training members was a force multiplier. It is not just about embedding a mindset of continuous improvement across our team, but empowering our staff with the necessary skills. 3 of our members were trained in the lean advanced training, the lean green belt training for a 1-week course. This was led by Andrew. It equipped us with advanced skills. They are now in our in-house lean champions, capable of leading complex processes of improvement and mentoring others. 8 of our continuous improvement managers were appointed. This by the appointment across different departments, from logistics to health programs. We have placed champions of efficiencies at every heart of our operations. This ensures that the drive of improvement isn't just a top-down directive, but a shared responsibility, empowering our team to constantly refine our work. So my role as a champion, a continuous improvement champion, this is the engine of our effective drive. The continuous improvement champion was a dedicated leader responsible of embedding culture of excellence in and innovations across Somalia mission. I was empowered to analyze our workflows, identify bottlenecks, implement smart solutions, and ensure it deliver more aid faster and more effectively. So lead innovation and the continuous improvement, in that this was a proactive core of the role. It is not just about fixing what was broken. It was also critically seeking out, championing new, more effective ways of working, whether through technology, data analysis, community feedback. We identify opportunities. This was moving from reactive problem solving to proactive systems strengthening. The champion doesn't just, I was just entitled to wait for issues to arise. I had to constantly scan our entire operations, from supply chains to data collection, to find hidden inefficiencies, potential cost savings. I led in rapid experimentation. This is to test new ideas quickly and pragmatically find what delivers the greatest impact. This is about embracing agile test and learn approaches. Instead of long planning cycles, we empower the champions to run small, low-cost experiments like piloting new supply chains and stuff like that. collaboration with the continuous improvement managers. This is where strategy becomes actions. The continuous champions, my role was to work, wasn't to work in isolation, but rather to actively participate with 8 departmental continuous improvement managers, a powerful network for change. These collaborations breaks down silos, shares best practices, and ensures that improvements in one area. I was providing coach and guidance to the team. This is the role. It moves beyond implementing a single improvement to building self-sustaining culture. Delivering local lean training. This was critical investment in our long-term effectiveness by delivering lean training directly to our national staffs here in Somalia. We are not just importing a concept, we are building permanent local center of excellence. This empowers our team to drive improvements that are context-specific and sustainable. I was also coordinating with the reporting to the headquarters. This created a vital feedback loop. The continuous improvement that we did, we had to be reported progressively to headquarters for accountability. They serve as a critical two-way conduit that ensured our local improvements in Somalia are aligned with the Medair global strategy. We're also bringing the invaluable on the ground insight back to the headquarters. So having established, expanding lean, having established a strong foundation with the trained champions and managers, our focus now shifted to strategically scaling the lean methodology across our entire program. And this is meant that establish a community of practice and monthly lean meetings, whereby we had to create a dedicated forum of shared learning, collaboration, sustained momentum in our improvement of journey. It was just meetings. It's a dedicated network where our champions managers from across the country can collaborate and solve their common challenges and share ideas. Set process improvement targets in that this we turn into intention into actual measurable results by setting specific targets. For example, supply delivery. There's so many things that we did. So we moved from abstract improvements to concrete accountable actions. We held 30 plus Kaizen events. This was driving rapid focused improvement across our programs, support services through collaborative problem solving. In this event, it was an intensive focused workshop where across functional team tackles a single bottlenecks or inefficiencies. We gave innovation awards. This was a crucial part of our building sustainable culture by publicly recognizing and rewarding creative problem solving. We do more than just say thank you. We had also received 4 awards from the global events for Medair organized at the headquarters. This sent a powerful message that every team member's ideas are valued, and it ended up motivating everyone to contribute and turn individually to individual achievements into shared inspirations.
Great. Thank you, Abdinoor. What we're going to do next is very briefly, we have about 2 minutes to do this. So Abdinoor, I'll just show the 2 one-page summaries, and maybe you can talk to each of them for 1 minute.
Okay.
While people can read they can read on the screen, you can just say something briefly about each of these for 1 minute.
Okay, so one of the improvement that we did was supply chain, and the problems that we identified was delivering of life therapeutic foods it took a very long time because of the delays, checkpoint delay issues. What we realized the cause was caused by the bureaucratic clearances, warehouse delays, also security checkpoints delays. Then what we implemented, the changes that we did was these ones, and they included strengthening government and stakeholders engagement, organized storage alphabetically, engage trusted local transporters. So the impact, we reduced clearance time to 2 weeks, warehouse dispatches to 1 week, reduced checkpoint delays from 6 hours to 1 hour. Overall, we re-engineered supply chains in 3 weeks instead of 8 weeks and more reliably. Next. So this is our joint response through a consortium with the other different partners. So there was a crisis, the protracted crisis that we're responding to, and we had a fund secured. And in this, there was small grants that were initiated for crisis responses, a small to medium crisis. Then we realized these were being delivered to the local partners, and there were so much inefficiencies in that partners in the consortium were doing in different ways. That is the NGOs and their local partners. Among the problem was this, and then there was a long approvals, there was a delays in responses, approval delay due to prolonged internal reviews. These are some of the causes that we realized. Delay fund release from the consortium members. Also, the process on how to activate crisis response mechanisms was not also very uniform. The change that we implemented was the coordinator to take the lead, harmonize all the responses. Response guidelines were revised, streamlining the processes. The agreement of the crisis were also consolidated into main agreement, implementing a lot of efficiencies. So the impact was a compliance with the crisis response by the partners, timely approval of crisis that we observed, and then there was also timely response to the affected population. Next.
All right, so we're about to wrap up. We're going to share 2 slides on lessons learned. The key lessons that we saw in general were that lean works even in the most challenging contexts, not only in, for example, the Toyota Kentucky plant where everything is optimized and everything is timed perfectly, but even in very complex and volatile situations, it works. And the same basic elements that you've seen already are the same things that helped Medair succeed in implementing lean in the Somalia office. And Abdinoor will wrap up with these key success factors for the Somalia program.
So our key success factors focused on our ability to deliver impact in a complex as Somalia. It was also experiential. We had to system strengthening. That means that established systems, getting a strong leadership support, having a fully committed champion like me was essential. Also, we had introduced a couple of tools and also embedded the culture of lean. We also saw that people are an essential part of our success, and it's not only about the processes, but and the system, but the people created the bigger role in that we had to get created awareness for people to change their mindset and appreciate lean. We had to build their capacity. We had to empower them and also motivate them so that they be able to stay focused. Thank you.
And we have a few minutes, very few, for any questions.
Thank you, Abdinoor and Andrew. We have a nice compliment from Juha in the chat, but we welcome any questions. You can throw it in the Q&A or in the chat window there.
Thank you.
I have a quick question maybe for either of you.
Okay.
Would you say that there's a distinguishing element of what makes lean in the humanitarian context more challenging? What's been your reflection on what makes it distinct?
Well, given, I'll answer and then Abdul can answer as well. For me, it's the malnutrition of the system, so to speak. Everyone is so focused on you have to do the work, and to stop and take time to improve the process is very difficult because people are dying, and you have to stop your service. You have to work overtime or whatever it is. But the impetus to keep doing and keep going and keep delivering the work and keep saving lives is so strong, it's very difficult to get people to stop that in order to make the process better so that we can actually save more people in the end. Abdinoor, any thoughts?
Yes, yes. So it's very true. So people, we tend to have a very tight schedules, being a life-saving programs. People are very focused. So, but what we realized was there's been a lot of firefighting sometimes happening along the processes. But now later on, applying those lean basic principles, it helped us to solve most of those and mitigate even adaptive ways, improve our programming through lean embarrassment and process.
Very good. Thank you both for your contribution, and wish everybody a great rest of the LGC. We will see you back on the main stage there. Bye for now.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.